Welcome to the Scrapbooking Inspiration Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Shannon, founder of digitalscrapbookinghq.com. Today, I'm here to talk with you about Photoshop Elements Organizer. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for a little while, you've probably heard me talk about Photoshop Elements Organizer. In fact, in my episode about Photoshop Elements, I said I need to do a whole podcast on Photoshop Elements. Well, I've gone one better. So many people have been contacting me wanting to know exactly what Photoshop Elements is, how it can work for you, whether you're organising your photos, whether you're scrapbooking. And I realised that even though I have done half a dozen organizer classes, I've never really tackled those super basics. So I decided to tackle those super basics so that you have a class that will go from the very beginning of Photoshop Elements Organizer. So starting on November 6th, my class Organising for Absolute Beginners will be available. This class has 8 modules and it takes you through from everything from understanding how Organizer actually works through to getting your photos printed or creating slideshows and all that fun stuff that you can do in Photoshop Elements Organizer. So I'm super excited for the class. So we're going to have a Facebook group so you can ask me questions easily and chat with the other members of the class. And each module has really high quality video where I zoom in on exactly what I'm doing, so you can put your iPad right next to your computer and follow along with it, or watch on your phone or anything, and you'll definitely be able to see exactly what I'm doing and follow along yourself. So why would you want to take a class on Photoshop Elements Organizer? Well, it has come such a long way. I've been using Photoshop Elements Organizer since version 6, which came out in about 2006, I think. Anyway, sometime around that time. And over the last 10 versions, it's come ahead in leaps and bounds. It's so good now. I feel like saying to people, if you've always put off organising your photos, you're actually in luck, because it will be easier to do it and maintain it now than probably even to continue on a system you might have been using. Technology's finally caught up with us. You can just pull in all your photos and just let Photoshop Elements do the work. So there's everything in Photoshop Elements 2018 to make your life easier. We've got automated importing on both Mac and PC, which is pretty recent for the Mac guys. So you can just use your existing system for whatever you use for your phone. Say if you're using iCloud or if you're using Google Drive or Dropbox, Photoshop Elements now just finds that, detects that you're using it and starts importing those photos. Now, of course, the great thing about Photoshop Elements compared to a lot of other photo organizing systems is that it's, 1, super organized, but 2, you're still totally in control of what happens. Your photos will all be put in neat little folders exactly how you want them to be, because it allows you to customize how your photos are stored on your hard drive. So I just wanted to share with you some of the features that we'll be covering in this class. We're covering automated organizing. Organizer monitors the new files that you've just unzipped or imported into Organizer. You can either automate the downloads with Photo Downloader, or you can have it watch the folders for new photos. Face recognition is awesome. Photoshop Elements is one of the first products, in fact before Lightroom, long before Lightroom, they implemented face recognition, and these days it is really good. You can use it along with your contacts, your Facebook directory of friends, so that you can easily tag people. The great thing is it just uses the names from Facebook and it doesn't, post anything or download information, etc. it is such a breeze. Once you've set up a few names, it really gets quick at working out who's who. In the last couple of versions, Photoshop Elements Organizer has added smart tags. So now it actually looks at your photos and sees, oh, there's a rose here, or there's a kangaroo, or it looks like you're playing golf, or there's several children in the photo. And it adds those tags to your photos. They're called smart tags. And it does that all automatically, and you never need to lift a finger. But when you come to trying to find, say, a photo of grandma with the grandchildren, you don't need to select grandma, grandchild 1, grandchild 2, all that kind of thing. You just search for grandma plus children in the smart tags, and it'll instantly pick up all those photos for you. Also, you can just easily find all your photos that are at the beach. It makes pages, scrapbook pages like then and now pages, so easy. I absolutely love it. And that's pretty new. Probably, I think Photoshop Elements 14 introduced smart tags. For the wear of our photos, you get a really cool interactive map of all your photos that were taken on a GPS-enabled device. And if you still use a point and shoot like mine that is not GPS-enabled, you can easily add a location to any photos. And the great thing is, if you combine that with smart tags, you can just, find all your beach photos and then just quickly pop them on the map. It's super easy. And of course, there's the when. Your photos can still be organized into folders on your hard drive, so you can find them by the date they've been taken, which I know a lot of people love to do. And then, of course, within a Photoshop Elements Organizer, there's so many ways where you can set up searches and smart folders, so you can find your photos easily for projects like Project Life or December Daily or something that's really date-based. And not only do we have smart tags, but we also have visual similarity searches. So if you wanted to find photos of, say, your Christmas tree over the last several years, you just need to find one photo of a Christmas tree and then do a visual similarity search to find all the Christmas trees in your photo library. It's so fantastic. It's really advanced. And of course, the benefit of using a program like Photoshop Elements versus Lightroom or any other services is that you just pay for it once. You just buy it one time, you use it as many years as you want to. Adobe does cloud services for their full Photoshop CC, but Photoshop Elements, Organizer and Premiere Elements are still available for purchase, as a box in a local store or online from their website or other resellers, and they're perpetual licenses. So that means you're not paying every month. You only choose when you want to upgrade. And that's really great for people who are not professionals, they're just home hobbyists, and especially if you're the kind of person who loves to just get to know your system and not have the interface change every year. Oh, and one last feature that's just been added is finding your best photos in Photoshop Elements Organizer. There's a new curation feature where you can actually have Photoshop Elements find the best photos. So if you have a folder of photos, maybe you've got burst mode on your iPhone, or maybe you, just pull out your DSLR and click, 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 click to try and get the best angle. Photoshop Elements will now auto-curate and suggest the best photos. And it's a real time saver. I love using auto-curate for making things like slideshows because it'll just pull out the best photos, and it's a really fun thing to add to a birthday celebration, something like that. So as you can tell, I could go on and on about Organizer, and I do, and I have. So in Organizing for Absolute Beginners, I walk you through all the features that I've mentioned. And of course, I have included in the class a Facebook group where I can help you with your specific questions, and we can all chat about Organizer and talk about what we want to do with our photos and how we want it all to work. So if you're ready to learn more about how to let Photoshop Elements Organizer work its magic, you can join me for Organising for Absolute Beginners. The class begins November 6th, but you can access the class at any time after that. You'll have ongoing access to the videos and the handouts and everything. So head to digiscraphq.com/OAB for all of the information about the class, and you can sign up. Go and check out the price because this class is a super great deal, and considering you're getting like really hands-on help from me as well, just to set up your organizer system, I think it's a bargain, to be honest. It's the class that I've been wanting to do for years, and now is the perfect time to join me and get your photos organized. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's episode of the Scrapbooking Inspiration Podcast. I'm still continuing in my series about the tools that I use in scrapbooking, and of course today's was Photoshop Elements Organizer. If you'd like to listen to the other episodes of the podcast, you can search Scrapbooking Inspiration Podcast in iTunes or head to scrapbookingpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Scrapbooking Inspiration Podcast today. If you'd like to learn more, head to scrapbookingpodcast.com, where you can find the show notes for this episode and the links to everything we've talked about.